ArcGIS provides a series of field applications which can be used independently, but they can also be strung together and used to complete a single workflow. So in today's example, I want to show you how we can utilize the ArcGIS field apps to do pipeline inspections from the planning process all the way up to the actual collection of the inspection. So we'll start where you would start in the planning phase, using Workforce for ArcGIS. In this case, we want to go into our pipeline maintenance project because we're working with a cathodic protection system on our line. And what we want to do is a routine test lead inspection. So when I launch my project, I'll see the existing assignments on the map, and I'll see the location of all of my workers with respect to my assets and my assignments. The list view provides me a quick snapshot of what each of these assignments is about. If I go to the Workers tab, I can see the distribution of work as well as the status of my various workers. So what I'd like to do is actually assign a test lead inspection to a worker out in the field. So I'm going to zoom to this specific test lead on my map and then actually create a new assignment. When I do that, I'll be given a form to fill out the details of the assignment. The first thing I need to do is pick a type of assignment. This list is populated when you create the project. So I'll select a test lead inspection and then click on the map to set its location. Now this will automatically give me coordinates, but I can give this a more intelligible name so my field users know what they're looking for and store that as part of the assignment. Then I can actually assign that to an individual in the field. So when I go to assign the work, I can see who's actively working, how far they are from the project, and how much work is already assigned to them. So as a dispatcher, I'm in constant communication with all of my workers out in the field. In this case, I'm actually going to assign it to myself, and I'll give it a critical priority with a due date by the end of today. Now I can provide it with an ID and then a description saying, please inspect this test lead using collector for ArcGIS. I can also provide any additional attachments that I think would be beneficial in the field personnel completing the assignment. So I'll create the assignment, and when I do, it's added to the map with a gray symbol showing that it's actually been assigned to an individual. You'll also notice my critical priority has a red block around it, meaning the field user has not yet acknowledged the receipt of the work. So as a dispatcher, I've completed my workflow in letting my field user know that they need to complete an inspection at this particular test lead. So with that, I'm actually going to switch over to my field worker. So my field worker is out in the field with their mobile device, and they can launch the mobile component of Workforce for ArcGIS. When they do, it'll refresh their list of assignments, and they can actually see that test lead inspection has been assigned to them. They can not only see the recent assignments, but they can see everything on their to-do list, as well as a map of their location and the locations of their peers out in the field. So the field user is not only in constant communication with the dispatcher, but they're also in constant communication with all of their other peers. Now we've talked quite a bit about worker status, and that's actually set in the bottom right-hand side. So if I click on my picture here in the bottom right, this is where I let the dispatcher and my peers know whether I'm working, on a break, or not working. So let's actually go ahead and acknowledge the fact that we've received this test lead inspection. When I click the Acknowledge button, this will let the dispatcher know that I've received the assignment. So at this point, we've really completed the planning phase of our work. We've created that assignment in Workforce, and we've assigned it to an individual who's acknowledged its receipt. So now that user is actually ready to arrive at that test lead. They need to navigate to that location. So what we can do is we can use our app linking button to actually launch one of the other ArcGIS applications. So in this case, I'd like to navigate to my assignment. What this will do is automatically pass the assignment location to Navigator for ArcGIS and then generate driving directions between my current location and the destination of the assignment. Now, a couple of key things you'll notice about Navigator. The first is that I've actually incorporated my own assets on the map. So I not only see commercial streets, but I see my lines along with the events along that line. You'll also notice that I've incorporated my access or private roads. So the commercial roads and your private roads can be incorporated into a single network so that you have seamless navigation directly to the asset. So for example, if I get the list of driving directions for this particular assignment, you'll notice I'm navigating on an access road as well as on the right of way. So I'm not restricted to those commercial roads. I can also set my travel modes for Navigator or create my own. And Navigator will work entirely disconnected for those times that I'm working in my remote areas. So now that I have my driving directions, I can actually hit the Start Navigation button and I'll receive a health and safety warning, which I can accept. And now I'll get voice guided turn by turn directions that will actually navigate me to that assignment. Now, in the interest of time, I'm just going to hit the top left and actually return to Workforce. So now I've actually arrived at the test lead and I'm ready to complete the inspection. So the first thing I can do is mark the assignment as started by hitting the bottom of the screen. So when I hit start, that will actually let the dispatcher know that I've started the assignment and record that time within Workforce. So now I'm actually ready to complete the work. In this case, I'm looking at a very map-centric workflow, so I'm going to use Collector to actually collect the inspection for this test lead. So again, I'll return to my app launching button, but this time I'm going to select Collect at Assignment. And when I do, it will launch the appropriate map and then actually zoom me to the location of the assignment. We'll see that there's no address found because we don't have an address at that location. We simply have a measure value along the line. Now here's our test lead of interest. So I can click on that particular test lead or the underlying centerline, any of the features on the map, and I can actually edit the attributes around it. In this case, I've actually disabled the editing of the geometry because I don't want my field users moving the location of my test lead. But what I have done is I've included test lead inspections as a related table. So if you notice across the bottom, I have test lead inspections and I can either view past inspections or I can actually collect my own inspection. So in this case, I'll have my voltmeter out in the field. I'll collect the information. We'll say the soil resistivity is 4,500. We used an MC Miller and we did not have a failed reading, so the rest of this does not apply. And then we can actually submit that information back to the central GIS. Now that we've actually completed the work, we can return to Workforce and actually finish the assignment, marking the time at which we completed the work and letting the dispatcher know that the work has been completed. So really, ArcGIS has worked with us throughout the entire field operations cycle. Everything from creating the work to successfully completing it and notifying the dispatcher that it's been created.